Often I spend hours trying to think about what to say at Satsangs, just like Robert used to do. But this morning, I realized that intellectual approach probably isn't very effective. So instead, I'll tell you about how wonderful it feels to be out of your mind, where your mind doesn't influence you in any way. It's just there doing its thing, but I'm not paying much attention unless I need it. Is the sound all right?
Yes.
Yes, it's just Eddie got his he's unmuted. Eddie, can you mute yourself?
Stop.
The trouble is, it's really hard to describe how great I feel. My body's totally relaxed. There's no tension in it anywhere. And arising out of that relaxation is a kind of joy that's not the kind I experienced in the past. There's no question here of searching for anything. I don't want to search for anything. There's nothing I want anymore. And to have a place where you don't have to do anything anymore is kind of a complete vacation. Vacation from the bullshit, from all the talking, all the ideas, all the philosophies. And just say now, my body feels, I guess you could call it ecstatic. And I don't know what really has changed, except when I feel my body, it feels brilliant. It's hard to say. I can feel everything in my body. And there's no pain of any sort in that feeling. It's just the feeling of being completely relaxed. Allows the whole universe to flow inside without any hindrance. And that makes me feel happy. And that's the wrong word for it, too. Ecstatic. And sometimes the ecstasy is low-key. Sometimes it's all-embracing. But I ignore the mind now. My mind has very little to do in my present life. And I feel sometimes a little resentful when things come up that I must do, like pay taxes or something like that. Because the feeling is so joyous. And I don't think about now all the things I used to think about, including not feeling good anymore, like it used to be back in the old days, where just life dragged me down. My mind was actually the source of life dragging me down, because I had all the things to do and the responsibilities to think about. But now that sort of happens naturally in me. And I'm not burdened by little things to do. But I don't fill my life with things to do. You know, when you're retired, I think there's a tendency to think too much in between your relaxation. But I don't. Sometimes it feels, or I feel, a little bored because not much is going on compared to the old days. But I feel good, feel happy, joyous with the way my body feels. I'm not bothered by any thoughts of what should be or what I could do. Probably the only thing I think about here that's sort of a constant thought. And by that, I don't mean constantly, I mean once a week or something like that, where I wished I didn't live here in this high heat summers. And the water is sort of absent here. There's no water here, except it comes out of the faucet. Some years it only rains 8 inches the whole year, sometimes less. And I miss the water. I've always been around water. It feels lovely to be able to go outside early in the morning or early in the evening and feel usually the ever-present breezes at the borderline between water and shore create. The wind flows towards the higher temperature. And there is no low temperature around here. Today it's going to be not so hot, like 104, 105, but when I was in Cleveland, the hottest day ever were about 91 or 92 degrees. Of course, it was a lot more humid. The best weather I ever lived in was when I was living in San Francisco and also in Santa Monica for the longest time. It never got too hot. It never got too cold. Even in the winter in Santa Monica, all that was needed during the deepest cold was a very light jacket. So I'm less comfortable here. I don't go out that much anymore, which is a shame. So I need to be adopted by somebody out there who lives in a very temperate climate. Yes, Los Angeles. Do you have a house nearby or a second level on your house?
No, we'll have to build one or switch houses, whatever you want. Let us know.
Okay. And I have here my joy, which is my cats, all four of them. I love having them walk on me when I'm doing satsang. I feel joy in having their little lives interconnected with mine, and I can pet them and love them. And none of us have to be outside in this heat. But in the non-summer days, the weather here is pretty good. It's pretty good. It never gets real cold. Never gets too hot either. It's sort of a middle. And it doesn't rain too much ever, which I miss. The best weather ever was San Francisco. And I loved that weather. Los Angeles was pretty good too, living in Santa Monica on the beach. But here today, I'm happier than I was in Santa Monica. Because for a long period of time, when in Santa Monica, I still had my mind. And I don't have a mind anymore. It's just like the sound of a fan blowing in another room. But if I need to use it, it's there automatically. But I don't find much need to use it. It's a life of relaxation. It's a life of feeling good. It's a life of really feeling alive because I'm aware of the body on the various levels that exist, from the superficial level of seeing and talking to the deeper levels inside of me when I'm not talking. And those are really not describable at all. But each part of the body seems to have a little different feel. My back, my shoulders, my gut, my legs. They all feel alive in a different way, but they all accumulate into one kind of overall feeling, which is a feeling happy with the way my body feels. It's something, a feeling that's always there. A lot like the sound of an air conditioner. It's always there, except when it's off. But here it's mostly on. Very rarely now, I get in an argument with Karima. But almost always, it never gets to the place where there's a loud voice involved. It doesn't bother me that much. There's nothing to strive for. I feel perfectly happy now. There's no need to go on vacation. I feel very rested and happy right now, right here with you. I know there's at least one person here who's torn apart with activities and responsibilities. And I know how hard it would be to feel a sense of constant joy in a situation like that. I urge all of you, if possible, to become unemployed or employed in a non-stimulating kind of work that doesn't force you to pay a lot of attention to it and make a lot of decisions. I think the best job I ever had, well, there are many of them, but better job was as a museum guard in the art museum in Cleveland. All that I had to do was stand around and look pretty. And if there was nobody in the room, I sat down. And I got paid for it. I got to see all the art in the world. And we were heavy there, and at that time, in Egyptian stuff, mummies, tools, drawings, etc. 4 whole floors of that. They had 6 basement levels of basement and 2 or 3 levels of above ground that had the various areas marked off for certain subjects. It was relaxation. And it's only in retrospect I realized how unrelaxed my life was until a few years ago, when I lost all interest in doing things in the world. I know many people would judge such a life as a waste because there's no contribution to society and no real gratification from the work. But there's gratification from the lack of stimulation and the need to respond to things on a constant basis. So instead, you can be still and be inside yourself. Oh, to be happy and not needing anything. Do you feel that way yet, Mark?
Yeah.
Ian? Chris? Or you're getting there yet? We're the do-nothing gang. The people that make no contribution towards society and are only interested in feeling the bliss of no mind. But if you feel it enough, it's often possible to come out of that bliss, to apply your mind to something temporarily in order to get it done. I'm relatively healthy too, except for an expanded prostate. It makes me pee a lot. My body feels healthy. I don't eat much. I find not that much desire to eat. I'm more interested in being quiet and feeling the bliss of nothingness. And this happened because over the years, I've learned how to relax my body, to take out all the strain. And I used to have a lot of strain in my body because I was a weightlifter for many years. And that keeps the muscles relatively tense all the time. And I had to lose that tension. And then there's the tension that comes from having a lot of different responsibilities and activities. And there's a lot of people here who have a lot of activities. Well, not a lot of people, a few. And when they're at that activity level, unless they're totally used to it and can relax during it, causes body tension which is carried like a 20-pound or a 30-pound weight hanging from your head or back. And when it goes, you immediately feel the release of the tension inside yourself from carrying that weight around. Every morning, years ago, a decade ago, I used to read the major newspaper, whatever city I'm living in, because I was interested in who was doing what and where. No, I couldn't care less. Hitting age 65 and the ability to retire with money coming in from the government is a wonderful experience for many people. To finally earn the right to not have to do anything. Yet I see when I'm on the computer news, everywhere there's trouble and tension all over the world. The tension of starvation, war, being exploited, etc. But you gotta try as much as possible to get rid of all excess responsibilities and sort of drift off into the bliss of nothingness. Then you can become a teacher and take other people along with you. And then you have a whole bunch of people that can't do anything, which is a win for the people participating. I remember Robert talked about a meeting he had with his brother in the near past, wherein his brother was bragging about how many stores he owned and how much he accomplished. And Robert merely asked him, "Are you happy?" And the brother broke down and admitted he wasn't. He had too many things to do, too many responsibilities. And he just cried talking to Robert. about how tough his life is. A bit like Michael is going through now. A lot of responsibilities that you can't get out of. That's what happens when you're younger. People try to pour responsibilities onto you because they don't want to do it. They don't want to get involved. Does anybody have any questions? Or offer some of their own experiences about letting go? What about you, Mark?
Well, I take issue with the fact that you're not contributing to the world. What do you call this?
Let me turn my volume up. I can't hear you too well.
I turned up my volume too. Is that
Okay.
am I better now?
No, I'm not contributing anything to the world right now. I'm trying to take away.
I think you're like a drugless version of Timothy Leary. I don't know if you remember Timothy Leary, but the tune in, turn on, and drop out. So it's like Timothy Leary without the drugs. You're advising people to opt out of the system because the system is punitive. The system is contracting. It is what's causing a lot of people's dissatisfaction with themselves and with existence. So
You're thinking too much. How do you feel?
I feel great. I feel great compared to the way I used to be. I used to be a person who was very burdened with ruminations over like negative scenarios. I was always working, planning, doing in order to overcome these possible negative scenarios. And there was always a constant tension in living like that, and living like one has to combat reality in order to feel okay.
Can you tell me about what you feel in your body now?
I feel an ease in my body. Right now, the beingness is like minimal, but it's still very pleasant. It's just like a light dusting of euphoria. I feel throughout, especially in my thighs, I guess because I was walking earlier, but I could feel the life energy. It's very calm, soothing. You once talked about like feeling like you were cradled by the hands of God or something, like you're in the right place. The universe loves you, you love the universe back, that kind of thing. Just not having anything to overcome, just being peaceful and blissful. And at times the euphoria, the beingness, becomes the main event. But right now it's just kind of like a trickle, but it's a very pleasant trickle. But sometimes it becomes like a mountain of euphoria, a mountain of bliss that's all lit up with sound. There's always the sound, there's always the visuals, and there's always the feeling. But it's not always obvious unless I close my eyes and deepen into it. But it's always there, even when I don't think it's there. If I look, I say, oh yeah, there it is. It's just kind of receded. And I'm always in that place where beingness is. It's just not always at equal intensity, which is fine. Because if it was always at maximum intensity, I'd probably get really tired of it. There's limits. There's reason why it comes, why it's not always at full volume, not always at full intensity. But yeah, I've been like this, I'd say the last year and a half, especially. I've deepened, I've overcome some remaining identifications with the old mark, with the mundane mark. Overcome some of those, and it's really not. It's hard. It's easy to overcome the mind when the mind has become basically not doing much anymore. Most of the time, my mind is like absent.
Good.
Yeah. And when thoughts come, they're not bad thoughts. They tend to be like just neutral or like creative thoughts, but they're very rare. So I just want to add that. Yeah.
And Bernadette, what about you?
Yeah, a lot of the same stuff you and Mark were saying. I feel much better now that I don't listen to my mind. It doesn't make me active. I feel varying levels of what you guys were talking about, bliss, and it's kind of medium bliss right now. Sometimes it feels like love, like absolute love, and sometimes it just feels like contentment. There's always some level of it going on, and the mind says things, but I don't act on it, especially if it tells me there's a problem. I just take that with me and sink down into that blissful power and let it take care of it. And what's really weird is sometimes I'm starting to feel other people's problems like that and taking them with me into that. And I guess in that place, there is no problem. And I don't know if the people are affected. I think they are, because I see my son becoming a lot calmer. I don't know. It's just, it just feels so much better to live this way than in the mind. The mind is torturous. I don't want to go back there. And I do get in a little bit of an argument with Chris sometimes because I don't want to talk. And he wants to. Sometimes I'll just say something in passing, and if he wants to ask me 5 questions about what I just said, it's already gone, and I don't want to go there. And then he's there,
Yeah.
oh, you can talk, but then you don't want to listen to me, and it's like, yeah. So I don't know, but I'm trying to. I don't know.
How does your body feel right now?
Calm, relaxed, and a very gentle energy just pulsing through, just making me feel content. And yeah, there's no desire to think about things because just that distracts me from it.
Sultanat, you don't talk that much, but let's hear what your experience is.
I don't know. I don't relaxing. It's my problem. I don't know why. It's my problem.
Just relax
I
now.
try.
Just
Yes,
relax now.
I try.
Just relax. Feel around in your body where your tension is. Where do you feel your tension? You feel it in your head, your back, your chest, your legs. Everywhere, nowhere. That's one of the things about my brand of spirituality, is to be aware of the body as much as possible, and where any tension is in it. And when you feel the tension, just watch it. And then allow yourself to enter it. You let go of the thinking part of watching, and instead feel the feeling as intensely as you can. And usually over a period of time, that will dissolve that tension. Just your attention on it will dissolve the tension. What about you, Ian?
The elder's not on mute. Hello. We were just having an argument about mute here. Cassie tells me I'm not off mute. And I'm going, what the hell does that mean? Not off mute.
You were still muted.
I think I'm muted, not muted. Look, it comes and goes, Ed, being honest, you know, just before when you said, how are you? And I said, good. Cassie says, no, you're not.
I did say that. I did not.
Yes, you did. I'm in process, and in process is perfect. My body feels wonderful right now. I felt the bliss that you spoke of. I felt my body tingling with joy. And maybe in a moment I'll be in the deep shit again. So, you know, that's perfect. It's fine. As Bernadette described, when stuff comes up, I'm finding I have the ability to just not respond, but to sit with it. And it dissolves. My life is both complex and simple at the same time. And that's okay.
Do you feel a change
Oh,
in
radical.
your tension when you come to satsang?
Oh. Well, for a long time there, after satsang was really hard, because it almost like the satsang brought so much stuff up. So the rest of my day and maybe the day after was really tough. That doesn't happen anymore. What are you laughing at? What? What? She always calls me a liar. I don't know. It's much better. Thank you. Yeah, it's much better. This makes my sadhana different, because this is always on my case. And this is my mind. And
It's still there, but external to you.
yeah. And as you were talking earlier on, I said, I allowed the thought that you were a manifestation of my mind, and that's when the bliss came in. So that the Ed thing that presents itself is actually my mind, and I'm able to do that a lot now, and it feels so good. So that I'm always just being presented with my mind, and yeah.
This is a bit like a science fiction movie where an explorer happens onto a tribe where everybody's blissfully happy, but does absolutely nothing. They just sit around all day long. They don't even talk to each other because it's too much of a strain. And can you imagine what a movie that would make? He could call them the catatonics. Eric, how do you feel?
Yeah, I'm good, Edgy. Thank you.
That's all you got? Can you go a little deeper into it?
Yeah, sometimes I get caught up in doing too much and making things really busy and distracting myself with the busyness. So I'm working at that. I just quit my job, so that'll help.
What were you doing as a work?
I was helping this company grow mushrooms and microgreens.
Was that a high pressure job, watching mushrooms grow?
It was a busy job. There's just a lot to do. And I was in a management role, so there's a lot of organizing.
Okay.
But when there's nothing going on, it's so much easier. To land back into joy. Lots of energy stuff going on for me. Kind of painful, just working through some stuff in my gut and some of the lower centers. And it's like I'm in heaven and hell at the same time, a lot of the times. Because there will be an immense amount of bliss and joy, but at the same time, a lot of contraction. And so I've been working at relaxing more, trying to relax into where the energy is moving through, pushing on.
Does anybody here at this time feel movement in your spine? Energies in your spine? No. How about in the past, having felt it in the past? Okay. That was one of the toughest areas of my sadhana, was dealing with all the activity of the kundalini in my spine and how it kept getting stuck at my heart level. And it's pretty painful. Kundalini went up my spine and it felt exactly like a sharpened pencil, about the size of a pencil. on the right side of my spine, driving up easily until it got to the level of the heart. And it couldn't penetrate with the blockage in the heart. So I felt an immense amount of pain there. And that happened to off and on for years. But I really didn't pay it much heed because it didn't feel dangerous in any way. It just felt like a task I had to do, which was to release that heart center so that the energies could penetrate and go up into my head and beyond, which they did eventually. Does anybody have more questions or comments?
Yes, Ed. In your opinion, is it easier for women to get in touch with their bodies than men?
Yes. Much. It's kind of dramatic. Men seem to be more focused on doing tasks and accomplishing goals. And when you do that, it's real hard to be aware of your body in terms of the way you have to in order to really feel it instead of use it. When you're busy using your body to accomplish something, it's really hard to find that free-flowing bliss and energies that come when you don't have any goals anymore. Like right now, I know I should write another book. The last one I wrote was in 2014 or 2013. So it's been about 10 years. And I know a lot more. I understand a lot more. I've changed a lot. But I can't get any energy to actually start it. I guess what I could do is look at all the satsangs that are up on videotape and extract what I say there and put it into book form. But that would require effort. And I don't need to do effort anymore. Fuck, so what if it doesn't get written? Will the world end? No. Will my book help 1 million people? No. Will it help 10? I don't know.
Your material, what you've written, what I've read of it, and I haven't read all of it, is a treasure. I don't know who's going to be the custodian of it. You rank with Osho as far as, I mean, he never wrote a book. He's got 200 books published by the people who are controlling his estate. But I think what your blog, as you just said, I believe that you've evolved since then. Maybe you're in a different place, but that material, I would hate to see what Nicole did to Robert, being the custodian of what happened to his they couldn't touch his transcripted satsangs, but the Infinity Institute or whatever just bastardized the whole thing. It just changed totally. And anyway, I don't mean to belabor this, but just I wish I had the mental acumen to be the custodian to shepherd that, because the material is exquisite, absolutely exquisite. I go back, even your book, the book that you did publish is, as I said, extraordinary, because what you did, no one else that I had ever read had ever done. You brought it back to the marketplace. You took all of the greatest sages of the 20th century and you told me where they were coming from. And that was just, I just keep rereading it. And my other questions go back to Robert. You know, I don't know whether this incarnation is bullshit 101, whether we all have to be here to figure out what I'm going to do in the next incarnation, because I'm going to do it differently, I hope. I mean, I couldn't have necessarily, I was terrified every day. I worked for 50 years in broadcasting, and I was afraid every day I was going to lose my job. And I know I met people along the way who really were wired totally differently, and all they wanted to do was just to get through the day in bliss. And that's what they did. They didn't think about what I thought about. They didn't ask the questions or agonize over the same bullshit. And they just seemed to be happy, and there was a joy. And I didn't have a lot of time to watch them then. I have more time now, in a way. And my dance is the whole mind, split mind dance that I just keep dancing because I can't get off of it. I feel contentment but I don't necessarily feel bliss. I think, every day that is vouchsafed to me is a gift. There's a lot more of Robert's transcripted satsangs that I want to read because it contrasts with how I see mundanity. He posits something that's so extraordinary, and in a way, just absolute, with crystal clarity. And yet, how you share, how you attained with him, and how you bring that to us. Every day is transformative. What you do to me every day and why I come here is just grace. And you are astonishing. And as I said, every page of Siddha Rameshwar's book basically says, just worship the Guru. He is God manifest. You are my beloved. I love you every moment, every word that you've written. If I attain, it will be because of you. And I don't mean that. Those are just words. There's something to let go and just simply stop trying to use those words to attain anything. Just let go of the thing. Just as you said, let it go. Let it go. Those are go dumb as a rock, put it down. And I at the end of this exegetic moment, I just want to let it go, but only in your grace. And I can do that because you astonish me and you leave me absolutely crumbled and crushed in grace, in bliss and joy. You do that every time.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's certainly the right attitude.
Somewhere in there. Somewhere in there.
It wasn't until I was with Robert for about 3 years that I could surrender like that. I had to test him out. Then I said, there's no point in not letting go and trusting him.
I knew right away when I read your It's Not Real. I knew right away. Terence Gray, Wei Wu Wei, his 9 books, he was probably the same vintage as Robert. He spent 17 years in India, much of it with Ramana Maharshi. He fully attained with the Ramana Shram, whatever that means. His first book was called Ask the Awakened, the Negative Way. And I can only read about a page or 2 at a time because it isn't intended to be so convoluted that it doesn't make any sense. But anyway, you leave me in a much more extraordinary place that is much more amenable and as a template to mundanity, which allows me to function in the world. That's what my takeaway every time. I don't want to keep rambling on, but that's what you do. I maybe this is bliss. Maybe it's, you know, just the absolute grace that being God manifest and being allowed to experience the bliss of every moment, and just being smart enough to put it down and shut up and enjoy it. And I'm going to do that. Thank you again.
Thank you, Jay.
I love you,
That
Eddie.
was sweet.
I love you very much. You are my beloved.
I love you too.
I need to get a cat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gonna check that out this summer.
Can we hear from Eddie? Eddie's face has been so lit up.
Edgy, can I come visit you for a week?
Write me.
Okay.
I haven't been having visitors for some time because of COVID, but I did before that. Michael and Maxie used to spend a lot of time here.
Okay, dokie. Thank you.
Okay. Vaselina, you're smiling. What happened?
Well, you couldn't remember that I visited you too.
Oh, I remember, but you weren't here as long as those two were.
Yeah.
But it was very delightful having you around.
Yeah,
Even
same.
Garima said she'd like to have you come back.
Right. Yeah.
You have a winning personality.
Okay.
Okay, everybody. Just relax now. Fall back into yourself. And as you do, feel yourself in your brain, in your face, your neck, your chest, your gut, your hips, your legs, your feet, and your arms. That's all you there, circulating, breathing, heart beating. It's so wrong to think that spirituality means transcending the body. In fact, it means owning the body. But at the same time, you see the body's not you, but you have identified with it. Where you are and what you are has no qualities. You'll never find out who you are. You can go to a place of feeling inside yourself where recognition and movement takes place, where the command center is, so to speak, of your personality and of your life. But when you're there, You'll know that that's the center, but it will not seem different than any other place. I bored myself, I guess. I love you all. Just keep up the relaxation and the exploration of yourself by going slower and slower and uninvolving your mind and just putting your attention on your body, all the areas of your body, because most of us aren't aware of our bodies. We're in our heads, and the closest thing we're interested in is shit that involves our head, like eating or hearing or seeing or thinking. I think most people could walk around without a body whatsoever, because all of the stuff that's going on is in their head. So relax. Try to feel the bliss that can arise from your heart and go upwards into your understanding, into your cognition. And then downwards in your whole body to feel the life going on in all of those different places and how it all has a kind of signature by which you can recognize if that's felt in the body. It's really hard to describe that constant feeling and the experience of being alive inside yourself in the various parts of your body. Just become aware of your body. Become aware. That's your instrument. That's how you understand yourself in the world. It's from that place of exploration in your body. I love you all. I hope to see you again on Sunday. And we'll have a test then on what you've learned in the last week. Okay? I'm just kidding. No tests. Bye-bye. Who wants to take over? You pointed at Cassie. Is that a revenge? Let's see. If I'm not the host, I think if I leave, everybody disappears. No? All right. I'll do it. We'll see what happens.
Eddie, I hope that you get to able to go and see Edgy this time.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm allowed, that means everyone else is, which means y'all need to take advantage and come on down at the same time.
I think Eric's thinking about going, aren't you, Eric?
Yep, I'm meeting up with my dad in Phoenix. So
Nice.
if it works out, to just drop in on him.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Yeah, and then we'll get the Chris and Bernadette to come out as well. Have them bring their cats. Get as many people as possible. Come and be a mop. Just soak it all. So hopefully that ends up working out, and we're all able to go there. Like,
the miracle of Zoom means that I can have the Shakti of Ed from thousands of miles away, but my past experience tells me that being in the presence of a living master, there's no comparison.
I guess what we could do for you, Ian, is like if any of us end up going, we could just like just do a Zoom call every day for you. That we can see you every day with us instead of twice a week. Because that was the thing that shocked me the most when I first heard about it. I'm like, oh, I wonder if he's real. And then all it took was like one Zoom meeting. I'm like, holy shit! It like goes beyond like being like in his like presence. Like that's what like blew my mind the most is like even Zoom works. So I was like, yeah, that like that
Yeah.
destroys like that just like destroys your mind. You're like, how is this possible?
He's real. He's the real deal.
Yep.
He's a rock star.
Yeah.
Cassie, can we end the recording?
Oh gosh, sorry.
Before we say something really